The only people who don't want to disclose the truth are people with something to hide.
This person, is this a person of interest possibly, this registrar, Mr. PhD, Mr. Alvin?
Onaka?
Yeah.
He's not a person of interest, but to date he has never come forth and said that he personally certified the document.
You made, didn't tell us a little bit about segues that your team has made to, follow up on different leads outside of, Arizona, for instance.
What transpired is, and we were accused of, especially I believe it was by the Attorney General of Hawaii, that said that we never reached out to talk to him, and that is 100% true. The reason being, in the beginning, before we decided to alert the sheriff that we believed we had a forgery, this was nothing more than inquisition. We were inquiring what happened here. Now that we had what we had and we presented it to the sheriff, it's now turned into a full-fledged law enforcement investigation. Now the steps to contact various agencies and request for help happens from this point under that authority. To do it before that would have had zero consequence. We would have gotten nothing out of it.
Okay, now tell us, we're going into, it's a new area for a lot of people, and it's really digital forensics.
Yes.
Okay, this is a traditional law enforcement. You're dealing with physical, things that you can touch, feel, you can test with chemicals. Tell us a little bit about your approach and how you feel about this new area, which is digital forensics, which you're engaged in.
What I've learned is people younger than me are a lot better at this than I am. They understand this to a T. This is extremely complicated information. To put one of these together, you can't just be a quote, novice. Even though I believe this was poorly done, you cannot be a novice. You have to have an in-depth understanding of the technical aspects of the software and what happens here. People that work with this stuff for a living, graphic experts. What I learned, I didn't know this when it happened, when this document was produced, within 30 minutes, graphic designers were all questioning its authenticity. It's because they worked with the software. Digital forensics is a science unto itself, but we also live in a very scary time. You cannot rely on your eyes anymore to believe what you see.
Good point. Okay, I'm just going to move down a little bit. Now, is there a hard copy of Obama's birth certificate available for you to look at? Are you guys in the process of, sequestering it?
To my understanding, if there is a hard copy document, no one other than select individuals from the state of Hawaii profess to have seen it. The state of Hawaii has some very stringent laws regarding vital statistics. And the only way that we would have an ability to see it would be to go to that state and request through court order the ability to see it. And even if we were granted permission to see it by a court, even by directive, the Department of Health in Hawaii could maintain the position of retaining the privilege not to produce it. And that's happened in some other court cases and unrelated incidents of other birth certificates where they just refuse to produce the document. As far as our position, a hard copy paper document is not something we want to see. I can make this into a hard copy. What the public has to understand is this becomes a hard copy at the press of a print button.
The short form birth certificate released in 2008 was uploaded to Obama's website. You familiar with that, and what are your thoughts?
I'm familiar with it. We did not do any extensive research on it. I do understand, though, at some point in time, other birth certificates were forged and actually uploaded. There's some speculation out there that a forged document by someone confessing to forge the document actually provided it to the White House. We haven't followed that up. Our purview right now is just to look at this long form birth certificate because it is what the White House has put up on their website and the president himself pointing to it saying, this is proof positive of my birth.
You as a law enforcement deputized or professional, whatever, in your position as a law enforcement agent, working for the people, at what point, where would you stand now if you seems to be a forged document, right?
Yes.
So the next step is where would you go from there? In theory, where could you go? If this was a crime...
If this was a crime anywhere that's in my jurisdiction?
I didn't do my selective
Sure.
service, for instance.
If this were in my jurisdiction, obviously you want to find the individuals responsible for it. You would start the very last person that handled the document. It would be the person that uploaded it to the server that the White House released to the world. That would be the place you start, and you just simply work backwards from there. And how did you get it? How did you get it? How did you get it? And eventually you would find the person. That's provided there's cooperation. What would normally happen in a situation like that is people will either speak or they will tell you they want an attorney, and they'll end it right there. And then you have to find other means, other ways to do it. In a utopian world in law enforcement, that's how I would like to do it. I'd like to interview everybody that ever came in contact with this document, and I don't want to call it a document anymore, this file. It's an electronic file. It is not a paper document.
It's important to make that distinction.
Very big distinction. This was put together so the public themselves, this was put together so someone would look at this on a computer screen and go, oh, that is what it's supposed to look like. It must be real. That's the deception in this. This isn't real. This will never be real. This is a fabrication. This is false. And that's the fraud that's not only committed here in Maricopa County, but it's the fraud that's been committed across the nation.
The only people who don't want to disclose the truth are people with something to hide.